Lasse asked, at what point do you consider a game to be bad? Let's say you dislike every part of a game, the writing, the gameplay, the world, etc. Do you just say, hey, maybe the entire game isn't for me? You're goddamn right, that's what I say. Because I don't have the right to tell someone else that a game is bad. Art is subjective. Paintings, music, theater, movies, TV shows. Art is subjective. If I don't like the writing, that doesn't mean someone else doesn't like the writing. I don't like certain comedians because they tell jokes in a way that I don't like. Doesn't mean they're bad comedians, it just means that their humor style isn't for me. We just gave you an example earlier. I said the Lies of P or whatever it was called. I don't like Souls-like combat. So even though I loved the idea of Pinocchio in a steampunk world and I found the story super satisfying, the gameplay for me, I don't like Souls-like, so that wasn't for me. I did not go off and make a rant about how the game sucks because I didn't like the combat. No one should play this game because it's trash. I just left a first impressions video, and I literally said in my first impressions video, I played the game, I enjoyed what I saw, but unfortunately the combat for me wasn't my style of combat. That's not to say people who like Souls-like games aren't going to have fun. It's just not for me. So, at what point do I consider a game to be bad? The reality is, I don't put anything on my channel that is bad. The worst review I've ever given something, I think, is a 6 out of 10. The games that I find to be, like The Ascent is another good example. My first impressions YouTube playlist that's the place where you'll find the games that I just don't find to resonate with me. There's a lot of games in there that I will play and something about it won't click. Maybe I don't like the animation styles, or maybe the combat doesn't click with me. Like The Ascent is another good example. The music was phenomenal. The story was great. I love the art themes and the aesthetics and everything else, but I just didn't like the way that the top-down combat worked. So I moved on with my day, and I went to something else, and I played a different game. I don't subject myself to things that I am going to dislike because you asked a question, let's say you dislike every part of a game, the writing, the gameplay, the world, etc. Well, it's kind of like video games for me are a source of entertainment. Movies are a source of entertainment. Books are a source of entertainment. I sit down to play games to have fun. I do not sit down to play games with the intent of nitpicking and bitching about every little thing that a game has done wrong. Like, that's not why I play games. I play games for fun. So my approach to games is I'm sitting down to play this game expecting to have fun. Am I expecting to enjoy every single bit of this game? No. It's very rare for a game to get a 10 out of 10. As an example, we're getting rated, holy crap, we're getting rated with a party of 372 people over on Twitch right now in the middle of a rant video, which is awesome. Welcome, guys. We are in the middle of a discussion right now. For newcomers, there is a 10-minute waiting list to chat. So first and foremost, thank you so much, Tangent, for the raid. I am multi-streaming on YouTube and Twitch, so you can watch where you want, but we have a wait limit of 10 minutes for everybody, whether it's on YouTube or Twitch, because we get a lot of trolls, so we want to make sure that we curb that stuff down. But to go back to the answer to that question, Lasse, I don't play games to be upset. I play games for fun. So when I sit down to play a game, I'm expecting to have fun. Let me turn that off, guys, because we have so many people following right now that is going to be hard to talk over. So maybe I go into a game, and maybe after 20 minutes of gameplay, I'm like, I'm not feeling this. Or maybe it's after 6 hours of gameplay. I say, maybe I didn't really like that, like the storyline. Starfield's a good example. I like Starfield as a game. It has good writing and bad writing, and some in the middle of the road writing. I still think it's a great game. But like the UC Vanguard questline is so obviously superior to everything else in the game that you can look at that like storyline and say that's peak Bethesda writing, but then you can go over here and find some of the Radiant fetch quests and it's like, ooh, that's bad writing. Does it mean that it's a bad game? No, it just has good and bad writing. I have over 20 million words in print. as a writer. I have written some really good stuff. I have written some not so great stuff, but it's all part of the whole. So to go back up to continue to talk about your question, at what point do I consider a game to be bad? I don't. I don't play bad games. If something isn't resonating with me, I give it a first impressions video and I move on. But what I don't do is I don't make a rant video. I don't make a video about how this game sucks, it's garbage, you shouldn't play it, or anything like that. I always approach it with a subjective opinion, which is it's not for me. I didn't like this part of it, but you might. Lamplighters League was another good example. I played that game for a few sessions and ultimately I kind of abandoned the playthrough because I did like the storyline for Lamplighters League, but the gameplay was kind of like I didn't like the forced. It was like there was some stealth elements to it, where it was kind of like, nah, I don't really care for this. I'm gonna move on and play something else because I was like, it just wasn't the right place for me at the time. I wasn't really in the flow of Lamplighters League, so that one I moved on from. So every time I play a game that has things I don't like, I literally end that with, this game isn't for me. I'm going to move on. I don't think there's ever been a video game ever. I'm 44 years old. I've been playing games since I was like 6 years old. I don't think there has ever been a video game ever that I would sit there and say, this entire game isn't for me. It's a piece of shit garbage. Like, that has never happened. But I go into video games with the same excitement that I had when I was 5 years old picking up a Nintendo controller for the first time and saying, oh my god, this is so cool. Da, 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 da. Jumping around with Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt with my little brother and, all that stuff. I've always approached gaming with excitement. Someone was laughing at me because my reaction video this morning to Expedition 33, I was talking about how I got goosebumps and I started getting all teary-eyed and emotional during the trailer. And I was like, I get excited about video games. I get emotionally invested in the things that I play. My wife makes fun of me all the time. If you've ever caught her on a stream, she'll take the shit out of me because I cry like during half the shows we watch because I am an emotionally invested individual, whether it be video games, books, TV shows, films, whatever. I look for the fun in things. I don't look for the negative. So that's why I don't permit rage bait on my channel. Like, I don't create rage bait channel on YouTube. That's not what we're about. We're about playing games and having fun. So, to fully answer your question, there is no point at which I would consider a game to be completely bad. There's just, I don't like this aspect. It's not for me, but it might be for you. It might be for other people. And as everyone said, the subjective part of that is the most important aspect. Um, you know, Lemoy says, I tended to love the Mech Warrior series when I was young, but I couldn't get into it. Now it's really a series that overall still love. Gotcha. Beast Stew says, I couldn't get past the tutorial in Dark Souls, so obviously it's a bad game. Hashtag sarcasm. So hopefully that's a better answer. That's going to get clipped out for YouTube, guys, so that was a good little discussion / rant. Anyway, let me properly say thanks again to Tangent for the raid. For those of you who are new, welcome aboard. I multi-stream on YouTube and Twitch, so you can find me live in both places. The day-to-day is over on YouTube in between the streams, which happen every single day at 9 a.m. Mountain. This is my day job. I am full-time, over 2.5 years now. We got a busy, busy, busy rest of the year. We're doing New World Aeternum, into Dragon Age Veilguard, into Stalker 2. We've got the story DLC. We're Star Wars Outlaws in mid-November. We got Indiana Jones of the Great Circle in December. We got a whole bunch more coming in the pipeline next year. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Avowed in February. We got Atomfall, Tales of the Shire in March. We've got Expedition 33 and a whole bunch of other stuff. We got next year also Dune Awakening. I play a little bit of World of Warcraft. We raid on Saturday nights. I do Lord of the Rings Online on Mondays. We do lots of stuff. We also do movies and TV shows and a bunch of stuff. So in between the streams, you can find all the day-to-day stuff over on YouTube.